Welcome to Section 2 of Unit 5. In this section, we'll take a deeper look at the Incident Action Plan preparation and approval process. We'll explore some of the different forms, and we'll talk about some of the meetings that lead up to the operations briefing. After the planning meeting is held, the following actions are taken to prepare the Incident Action Plan. Organizational elements begin to prepare Incident Action Plan assignments and submit them to the planning section. The planning section correlates, prepares, and duplicates the Incident Action Plan documents for the operations briefing. The planning section will set the deadline for completing the Incident Action Plan attachments, obtain plan attachments and review them for completeness and approvals, determine the number of IEPs required, arrange the documentation unit to reproduce the Incident Action Plan, review the IEP to ensure it is up to date and complete prior to operations briefing and plan distribution, and provide the IEP briefing plan as required and distribute the plan prior to the beginning of the new operational period. The resources unit coordinates with the logistics section to acquire the amount and type of resources needed. The incident commander reviews and approves the incident action plan. The written IEP is a series of standard forms and supporting documents that convey the incident commander's and operations section's directions for the accomplishment of the plan for the operational period. In some cases, the IEP includes a cover sheet to indicate which forms and supporting documents are included. The IEP cover sheet is not an ICS form. However, it is sometimes used to provide a quick overview of the contents of the IEP. The cover sheet may also serve as a checklist to indicate which forms and supporting documents are enclosed as part of that IEP. The job aid starting on page 5.41 of the instructor guide summarizes the purposes of the ICS forms and supporting documents to include the IEP cover sheet, the ICS 202 or incident objectives, the ICS 203 organizational assignment list, ICS 204 assignment list, the ICS 205 incident communications plan, the ICS 206 incident medical plan, and the safety messages, maps, and forecasts, which are not ICS forms. Take a moment to familiarize yourself with the list and the description so that we can have a more productive conversation during class. You can also find copies of these forms or a link to download more forms in the assignment section of this module. As we mentioned previously, many people think that ICS is a form-driven incident management model. But remember, that's not the case. The forms are there to make the job of incident management easier during stressful situations. Instead, ICS is an objective-driven incident management model. So, with that in mind, are all of the forms needed every time? No. The incident commander makes the final determination regarding which ICS documents and attachments will be included in the incident action plan. During everyday operations or during minor incidents, the incident commander may not use all of the forms. Instead, the objectives, organizational assignment, safety message, and maps may all come on one sheet of paper. As the incident becomes more complex, the incident commander may opt to employ the ICS 202 or incident objectives, the ICS 203 organizational assignment list, and multiple ICS 204s or individual assignment lists, as well as any special safety messages and maps or other documents necessary to meet the objectives. The Incident Objectives, or ICS Form 202, includes incident information, a listing of the incident objectives for the operational period, a general situational awareness message, which may include pertinent weather information, a brief summary of the command emphasis, and a table of contents for the plan. This slide shows the lower half of the ICS Form 202 and gives us an opportunity to look at some of the other information that is shown on the form. As we mentioned before, one of these pieces of information is a situational awareness message. This allows the incident commander or the preparer of the plan to provide a general overview of the incident or situation at hand. Some versions of the ICS Form 202 also have space for the key components of the safety message. Once the IEP is complete, both the Planning Section Chief and Incident Commander indicate approval with their signatures on this form. The Organization Assignment List, or ICS Form 203, provides a full accounting of incident management and supervisory staff for the operational period. You can think of this form as an organizational chart in a list format. The assignment list, or ICS Form 204, is based off the organizational structure of the operations section for the operational period. Each division or group will have its own page. This page will list who is supervising the division or group to include branch directors if assigned. Each 204 also includes specific assigned resources with the leader name and number of personnel assigned to each resource. The assignment list describes in detail the specific actions that the division or group will be taking in support of the overall incident objectives. Any special instructions will be included as well as the elements of the communications plan that apply to that division or group. It should also be noted that based off the size of the incident, sometimes individual strike teams or task forces get their own ICS 204s as well. Communications assignments are also specified on the assignment list, or ICS 204. It should be noted that information from several forms is integrated into the assignment list in order to inform members of the operations section about assignments, instructions, and communications protocols or frequencies without needing to give them a copy of the entire incident action plan. The Incident Communications Plan, or ICS Form 205, summarizes the communications plan for the entire incident. Note that while it is beyond the scope of this course to provide detailed training on communications planning, a quick and easy planning process includes the following steps. First, provide communications between the incident commander and the operations section chief. Next, provide communications starting with the division, group, or resource with the most hazardous tactical operation. Then work through the operations section until you have ensured that all tactical resources have needed communications. After meeting the tactical communications needs, ensure that the planning section and logistics section have communications. Fourth, depending on the availability of communications assets, supply additional support personnel with cell phones or other non-tactical radio communications. The Medical Plan, or ICS Form 206, presents the plan for providing care in the case of a responder medical emergency. Additional supporting documents may include the following: a safety message, detailed weather forecasts, incident traffic plans that show the ingress and egress routes for resources, and other important information for operational supervisors. Now we'll move on to discussing how to conduct the operations briefing. Also known as the shift briefing, the operations briefing is the next step in the incident planning process. It is conducted at the beginning of each operational period. Immediately prior to the start of the new operational period, all of the supervisors of the tactical resources to be employed during the period should attend an operational briefing. In some cases, all of the tactical personnel should attend if they can be accommodated. The briefing presents the incident action plan to supervisors of tactical resources. The main purpose is to present the IEP to these individuals. Staff members will be briefed on the operational elements of the plan to ensure they are aware of whom they will work for and what it is that must be accomplished. In addition, staff members will have a chance to ask questions regarding the plan, be briefed on any critical safety issues, and be informed regarding specific logistical information. The briefing should be concise. The planning section chief facilitates the briefing following a concise agenda. After the operations briefing, supervisors will meet with their assigned resources for a detailed briefing on their respective assignments. The next two slides look at a sample operations briefing agenda and who is responsible for which action. The Planning Section Chief performs introductions, welcomes, and reviews the agenda. The Planning Section Chief facilitates the meeting. The Incident Commander, or the Planning Section Chief, reviews the incident objectives. The Operations Section Chief provides an overview of current incident status and the progress toward achieving incident objectives and tactical assignments. Technical specialists speak as needed depending on the nature of the incident. For example, in a hazardous materials incident, there may be presentations by a hazmat or weather technical specialist. Wildland fires may have presentations by fire behavior technical specialists. The Operations Section Chief indicates incident boundaries, branch or division locations, and group assignments. The Operations Section Chief also reviews all division and group assignments, or the ICS Form 204s, ensuring that the division and group supervisors thoroughly understand the tactical assignment, resources, communications, special instructions, and safety issues associated with the division or group. It is not unusual for incident conditions to have changed between the time the IAP is duplicated and the operations briefing. The Operations Section Chief may dictate last-minute changes to the IAP. This is the primary focus of the meeting. The Safety Officer discusses safety issues such as accidents and injuries to date, continuing and new hazards, and mitigation efforts. They also review the overall safety message. The Logistics Section Chief covers supply, transportation, food, and facilities-related issues. The Logistics Section Chief will also cover, or may have staff discuss, the following. Medical Unit Leader discusses the medical plan, or ICS Form 206, ensuring that all supervisors understand the process and procedures to follow if a responder is injured on the incident. The Communications Unit Leader reviews the overall Incident Communications Plan, or Form ICS 205. Other personnel may review additional Incident Action Plan elements as needed. These may include an Air Operations Summary by the Air Operations Branch Director, Fiscal or Compensation Claims and Issues Summary from the Finance Admin Section Chief, issues associated with cooperating or assisting agencies from the Liaison Officer, media and incident information issues from the Public Information Officer. Other information may also be presented by training specialists or the Demobilization Unit Leader. The Incident Commander provides closing remarks, and the Planning Section Chief provides housekeeping information such as times for the next meetings and concludes the meeting. The next step in the incident planning process is to execute the plan and assess progress. The Operations Section directs the implementation of the plan. The supervisory personnel within the Operations Section are responsible for implementation of the plan for the specific operational period. Once the Incident Action Plan has been approved, any change or modification to the plan should be written in red ink on the original document. The original document serves as the incident's official document to be retained. The plan is evaluated at various stages in its development and implementation. First, all members of the command and general staffs review the final document and correct any discrepancies. Next, during the implementation of the plan, all incident supervisors and managers must continually assess the effectiveness of the plan based on the original measurable objectives of the operational period. This evaluation of the plan keeps responders on track and on task and ensures that the next operational period plan is based on a reasonable expectation of success of the current plan. Finally, the Operations Section Chief may make the appropriate adjustments during the operational period to ensure that the objectives are met and effectiveness is assured. In addition to the standard meetings of the formal planning process, incident managers may see a need to bring all or select members of the organization together outside that process. These meetings encourage communication and ensure organizational continuity. Such meetings include, but may not be limited to, strategy meetings. The incident commander or unified command may hold a strategy meeting as part of the process of assuming command. It may be held following the agency administrator's briefing, prior to or as part of a tactics meeting, or as an agenda item for the unified command meeting. Additionally, a strategy meeting may be called anytime incident objectives change. Strategy meetings can be especially valuable to ensure there is quality input into the process of developing incident strategy. Team meetings. The incident commander can call a meeting of command and general staffs to assess general morale, ensure teamwork and communication, or provide additional direction. These meetings are not planning meetings and do not have a set agenda. Section meetings. Section chiefs may also call meetings of their staff at any time and for the same reasons as team meetings. Team closeout meetings. The incident management team may want to hold a team closeout meeting to discuss lessons learned, performance issues, changes in team practices, etc. Public meetings. The incident commander may find it useful to hold general public meetings or focus group meetings to brief the public or special interest groups on incident activities. Such meetings should be carefully planned in advance and have a formal agenda. Usually, the public information officer is also involved in advertising, organizing, and facilitating such meetings. Special planning meetings. Special planning meetings may be useful to discuss proposed specialty plans such as the demobilization plan or specific contingency plans. Such meetings may be convened by the planning section chief or the operations section chief. Transition meetings. A transition meeting can be seen as an expanded transfer of command meeting when one incident management team takes over an incident from another incident management team. Transition meetings are a good way to ensure that all information is shared between members of incoming and departing incident management teams. Let's do a quick summary of the entire Unit 5. At this point, you should be able to identify the importance of planning for incidents or events, explain the differences between planning for incidents and events, discuss major planning steps including logistical concerns, cost-benefit analysis, understanding the situation, developing and implementing the plan, and evaluating the plan, and you should be able to explain the criteria for determining when the incident action plan should be prepared in writing. You should also be able to describe the role and use of ICS forms and supporting materials, including an IEP for effective incident or event management. Describe the strategy meeting, tactics meeting, planning meeting, operational period briefing, and team meeting. If given an incident scenario, describe appropriate strategies and tactics to meet incident objectives. Conduct a tactics meeting to complete an ICS 215 operational planning worksheet and ICS 215A Incident Action Plan Safety Analysis using the strategies and tactics from the scenario. While these were difficult to do online, we will be doing this during the in-person class. And finally, you should be able to describe how the ICS 215A Incident Action Plan Safety Analysis is used with the ICS 215 to mitigate hazards in tactical operations, recognize agency-specific aviation policies and procedures as they relate to safety, participate in a planning meeting using the planning process and develop a written incident action plan for an incident or event using the appropriate ICS forms and supporting materials, and using an incident action plan, conduct an operational period briefing. Again, some of these things we didn't talk about in the online portion, but we will be discussing them in the in-person class.